Alrighty, welcome everybody to today's team call. Today is March the 5th. I'm super pumped about today's team call. Hopefully you guys all made it. I'd love to hear where everybody's from. I can see where you're from, but I'd love to hear teams. Like, I think we got people from all over Team Beachbody, all over the place. Obviously, we got Scotty Hobbs on from Idaho Falls. That's good to know that he can hear. I'd love to hear team names on here as well. These are just slides that I always use, so I didn't bother put in other things and stuff. But yeah, I'm super pumped to have you guys on this call. We're going to try and bring you guys a lot of value. A couple of weeks ago, I was just sitting down and talking to Scotty. We've been talking for a while, and we're just talking about how we could, have the most impact in Beachbody as well, and really kind of just help you guys and share a lot of knowledge, because Scotty and I both get, hundreds of friend requests a week, if not a day, and messages from people, like literally guys, like a ton every single day, so much so that we've had to hire people to actually respond to our messages on Facebook. And to be honest, we want to respond to everybody and help everybody, and it doesn't matter, what team you're on, it doesn't matter. We want to help all of you, and it's right. There's just no way we can respond to every single person. So first of all, I want to apologize if I ever not responded to you. Hopefully I have. I do want to help you out. But based off of that, we started thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if we just did a big team call and just invited everybody that wanted to join and just had a big kind of party, shared kind of our stuff. Guys, we don't know everything. We can just share stories. That's really what me and Scotty do. We're gonna share the best stories that we can with you, explain to you guys how we've done the business. But also remember as well that everybody does business differently, and that's awesome, and that's what makes, I think, Team Beachbody so unique and so amazing and so beautiful. And we're hoping that as many people as possible out there can, change as many lives as possible. And that's really this whole thing is all about, is changing other people's lives in the best way that we possibly can. And I know Scotty and I both, we obviously we're both men of incredible faith, and we really believe that Team Beachbody is an incredible avenue, that if we all kind of band together as one, we can really impact the lives of just a freaking ton of people, to be honest. So I think we do it. I think we all believe in the same things, and I hope that we all continue on this mission together. So with that, I usually do a lot of stuff in the beginning. I'm not going to go into all that stuff. I'm going to go right into it. So the way this is going to work is, let me find Scotty here really quick so I don't have to do that again here. Let me just see. Scotty Hobbs. Scotty. Here he is. I'm just going to make you presenter. You don't have to go on right away, but let me see. Make sure I get you properly here. PQR. There we go. Okay. So the way it's going to break down is,
line is now unmuted.
Question. So you gotta get us kind of back and forth. Hopefully that works pretty good. We're not going to talk at the same time, just so there's no kind of audio and feedback and stuff like that. And I think it'll be really good. You get to hear from both of us, get to get totally different perspectives. We're going to try and keep it to kind of an hour right at the end. I got a pretty cool motivational video. Scotty will close it out, and once he's done, I'll play the motivational video, and we'll be kind of done for the day. And it is recorded, so if you get booted or issues happen, I'll put up the recording a little bit later on and share the link with everybody as well. So let's get right into it, guys. So the first question I got asked was, what is one piece of advice that you were given that changed everything or brought you to a turning point in your business? Now, I think I've had a lot of different turning points in my business. For those that don't know me super well, really quickly, kind of my story was, I was in the corporate world for like 10, 15 years. And every year I kind of gained like 5 pounds, maybe sometimes 10 pounds. In a month, that pizza, I love pizza, so it wasn't going too well for me from the fitness perspective, and I gained about 230 pounds, and I'm 5'5" with shoes on, so that wasn't going so well for my health. Ended up in the hospital, and long story short, a lot of you probably heard my story already. I found Beachbody. I lost about 55 pounds with Beachbody, and then I've gone on to lose about 80 pounds with Beachbody, and it's been amazing. And that's really kind of the first turning point for me, was finding, of all programs, Turbo Fire. I really love Turbo Fire, and I connected with that trainer. That was really kind of like my first turning point in my business, was kind of just realizing that I could actually get results with an at-home workout program, and it didn't have to be Insanity or P90X, and it was really great for me. And because of that, I wanted to pay it forward. And so I guess the second turning point that I had in my business, after kind of feeling amazing and getting in the best shape of my life, my second big turning point was really when I decided to become a Beachbody coach. One of my friends who's probably on this call actually approached me first. He's like, hey, you should become a Beachbody coach, and you'll be great at it. It'll be really fun. We can do it together. And I was like, dude, that thing sounds like a total scam to me. I'm kind of embarrassed for you for calling me. I didn't tell him that part, but that's what I was kind of thinking. I'm like, pyramid scheme. Oh my goodness. Who was that guy? And so, but for some reason, I don't know, it stuck with me that that was the first point where I got this idea that maybe I could help people. Maybe I could help them in a positive way with what I had gone through. I was literally in the hospital looking up at the ceiling, thinking, what the heck's going on? True story. I remember calling my dad, just freaking out that I couldn't control, when I was having a panic attack, my high blood pressure. It was not a good situation. So I thought maybe I could help someone with my story. And that's when I kind of started a blog just because I wanted to help people. I didn't start a blog because I wanted to sell challenge packs. And it's funny, people always tell me, you have an amazing website. That must be, a lot of your customers or whatever. I'm like, not really. I could probably close the website tomorrow. It wouldn't do anything for me. It's not really how I do my business. It doesn't really matter. So the big turning point for me was I actually ended up connecting with a couple of coaches, and I ended up becoming a Beachbody coach because I just thought, what the heck, let's try this thing. And I put in $40. I'm like, no big deal. People think I was the first Canadian to sign up as a coach. I wasn't. There was a ton of coaches that signed up before me. And I didn't sign up the second day, but there was a huge influx of coaches that signed up day one. I didn't sign up day one. I signed up midnight, so technically I think it's day two. So I think my official date is October 2nd or something like that. So anyway, so I signed up as a coach, and that was a big game changer for me because I decided right then that I was gonna help people in a positive way and make a positive impact just by sharing my stories. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But that was really kind of my next big turning point, was when I decided to actually, do the business. And, fast forward a few months, I kind of just kept doing my thing, and I'll get into that later because there's another question, and I'll go into more detail on that. But really, one of the biggest turning points that kind of made it a business, right? Because before this turning point, and I'll explain to you in a second, I really looked at Beachbody as something I was doing for fun, right? Which is great, and it still is fun. But I really looked at it as something that I did for fun to help people get in better shape in a way, allow me to do what I love to do, which is inspire people, and hopefully they make an impact in the world. That's what I love to do. That's what gets me excited, right? So to me, I was like, okay, what's the next thing? And that's when I went to Coach Summit. So I went to Coach Summit. This is I didn't know really what Coach Summit was. Everybody just kept saying, you got to go to Coach Summit. You got to go to Coach Summit. You got to go to Coach Summit. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to go to Coach Summit. How much? And I'm like, I got to pay to go to Coach Summit? I don't understand. Again, I was a new coach. Yes, I'd been a coach for 7-8 months, and I was technically top coach in Canada. But guys, I wasn't making, as some people say, bank, right? I wasn't really making a ton of money. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll go and I'll do it and I'll see. And I was working at, as a Microsoft consultant for about, for a long time. So I was doing that full time, 60 hours a week, and plus doing the Beachbody business on the side. I wasn't a full-time coach or anything. So I had to book time off, went down to Coach Summit. And it all kind of came together for me in this one moment, seeing everything, just seeing success story after success story. A big part of this business, guys, is belief. It's believing in yourself. There's 227 of you on this call right now. And I'll tell you right now, one of your biggest problems for a lot of you is belief. You don't have that full belief yet. And you cannot do what is required of you in this business without full-on belief in yourself and full-on belief that you can make it happen. And that really big turning point, above and beyond everything else, being outside and working out with 8,000 people, right? And all of them are amazing people. I'm looking up to all these amazing coaches that were out there that I got to meet, Josh Spencer, this guy I've always looked up to, and Jimmy Hayes Nelson, all these great coaches, and Scotty Hobbs, and I was just in awe of all these people and all the good things that they represented. And I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to be a part of something bigger than me, and I wanted to help people. And I realized at that point that if I could make this a business, then I wouldn't have to spend my worst hours, which are 10 o'clock till 4 a.m. Most of my business guys, the first year, I grew working from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. every single day. I would not let myself go to bed until I was literally crashing on the keyboard, passed out, fighting with my wife, because she's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? I don't understand. We make good money. What the heck are you doing? Are you having a midlife crisis? You're 34. So all this stuff was going on. And then I bump into this guy, like Scotty Hobbs. I bump into Scotty Hobbs. And I remember, like, back then, I think I'd just become a 2-star diamond. I was a 1-star, 2-star. I can't remember exactly. And, I was still, sitting in the nosebleed section with my team of, like, 6 people that I brought to Coach Summit. And I remember seeing Scotty Hobbs, and I was the shy coach, right? A lot of you are going to go to Coach Summit. How many of you are going to Coach Summit, by the way, this year? How many of you are going to Nashville and party it up? So I'm going to give you a big piece of advice. Walk up to all those coaches you see, because they will change your life. They will change your life. Walk up to me, walk up to Scotty, anybody you want to, because they're there to give. We're all there to give. We're not there, to just party. We could party anywhere, right? I could go down. Scotty just invited me down to his cabin, right? I could go down to party with Scotty next week if I want to. We literally, and I fully believe Scotty does as well, we go there to give back. We go to Coach Summit to give back because it changed our lives. And so I was walking around, in the area of the core, which is amazing. You can buy all the Beachbody workout gear, all this stuff. And I see Scotty Hobbs, like, looking around the PNEX section, right? And I think I was walking around, I can't remember with who. I think it was with, like, Casey, who's, like, top coach in Canada right now. I was walking around with her. And I see Scotty Hobbs over there. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta like somehow go over there and talk to Scotty Hobbs. And I'm like, I'm scared though. I'm like, I was like shell shocked. I was like, oh, Scotty Hobbs. I don't want to go talk to Scotty. And I don't know if he remembers this or not, but this was really like my big turning point. Like, truthfully, when my business went, or when it went from hobby to business, I was talking to him and I was like, hey, like, sorry to bug you. Like, I just really wanted to get like a picture taken with you. And, I'm sorry, it's really weird. And I hope you don't feel weird, And he's like, oh no. And, he starts, and I'm like, what's the biggest piece of advice you give me? And I was talking to him, telling him about what I was doing in my story, right? And he told me to read this book, right? And this book changed everything for me. He's like, basically the book was, I'm trying to remember now, you can't steal third with your foot on first, or something like that, right? And this book was amazing. Scotty, if you're on the chat, you can write up the book that you kind of told me to go read. And it was awesome because that whole book was about, basically, you have to burn the bridge. Like, if you want to make something happen, you're not going to do it still thinking about the past, right? And you can't do that. You can't just go on to something else in your life with kind of still looking behind you all the time. And it's not for everybody, but like, once you get, I was at that point. I was at that point where I was like, okay, I know that I have the skills to impact a lot of lives and change a lot of people's lives, but I can't do it in the current situation that I'm in, or something has to give, right? And I went through a process for months, and funny thing is, I end up with Scotty again in Toronto about a year after becoming a Beachbody coach. I was a coach for about a year and 3 months, I want to say. So it was January 2014, and we're doing this event in Toronto again just to give back to people and truly give back to people. I think Scotty flew down to Toronto just to hang out, and I think he had like one coach come, and there was 180 people there. And it was an awesome event, and I had just actually retired from my corporate world job the week before, right? And so it took me from like June of Coach Summit, another about 6 months to really kind of decide everything and say, okay, like, this is it. I gotta do this full time. This is where my passion is, and it was cool. And so that was my biggest turning point. Sitting down with a top coach that is now $1 million earner, and chatting with him and realizing he's just like me. He's just like me, and we can be buddies, and he's gonna give me advice, and he wants me to succeed, and I want him to succeed. And that ability, that caring attitude to me told me, hey, you know what? This is a company I want to be a part of, and I want to do this, and I think I can help a lot of people. So that was my biggest turning point in my entire career. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Scotty to answer the next question, and I'm going to mute myself.
Your line is now unmuted.
Sorry, let me get my camera up here. 1 second. I can't see the camera thing. We'll figure this out. See, we're still figuring out things as we go. I've never used this. There you go. So I'm excited to talk to you guys and answer this question. I told Miguel when he sent the questions over today, I was like, man, I hope these questions are something that I can answer. But I'm excited. I'm going to start, before I answer this question, just to introduce myself a little bit in case you don't know me. I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho, a town of like 60,000 people. And I have 4 kids. And when I started as a Team Beachbody coach, And I'll do the really short version because I've told my story so many times you could find it in other places. But, I started really with P90X in 2010. It was May of 2010. And I started because someone said, hey, you should try P90X. And the thing was I was out of shape. I was drinking 2 energy drinks a day, eating a breakfast burrito every day. And I was working 12 hours. It was basically working 5:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night, and then every Saturday. So I was busy and working all the time, and I was just out of shape because I sat at my office all day long. And this guy came over to my house, very ripped guy, and he did basically what we're supposed to do as coaches every single day. He got to know me, who I am. He was he's just a neighbor, and we talked, and he said, and I asked him, hey, how do we get fit? Because this guy was really in shape, and I guess you could say ripped and jacked. And so he's like, hey, I work out at the gym. I eat clean. He gave me some advice. He invited me to go to the gym with him. But unfortunately, the time that he went and he trained the football players for the high school team was the time that I was at work. So that next thing was like, you should do P90X. So he does basically what we're supposed to do every single day as a coach is invite people and tell people and give them tools that they can do to help make a transformation in their life. So I took those tools on my own, committed to 90 days, and went from 187 pounds down to 145. Now, opposite of Miguel talking about being like 5'5" and the weight he was at. Now I went through this P90X transformation. Now I'm 5'11", 145 pounds, and that is so skinny and scrawny. So, from P90X from there, I just continued to learn about fitness and nutrition. I did P90X 4 times before I actually signed up as a Beachbody coach. But after I finished my 3 months, I wanted to learn about others that were doing P90X. I was just curious. I was like, man, this works so good. I wonder how many other people have transformation like this. And so I looked online. I looked on YouTube. I looked on blogs. And I read people's stories. And that's where I found out about coaching. Nobody introduced me to coaching. I found out about it. So I reached out to Lindsay Matway, which was the first YouTube video I found. I emailed her. She had her contact information in her YouTube video. And from there, I went forward, called her. She's just, did a basic invite, got to know me, who I was, said, hey, you have an awesome transformation. You should be a coach. And I was like, nope, not for me. Thanks for the offer. But I'm just going to help people and just keep doing the workouts. You can be my free coach with Beachbody. I'll follow what you do. And if I need any advice or help, I'll reach out to you. So I told her no right away. And I continued my journey with P90X. And she actually invited me 3 times over the course of 8 months. One time there was they waived the sign-up fee. There's 1 month, how we have challenge pack promotions right now. It's like you could sign up as a coach for $0, everybody. And she invited me to be a coach, said, hey, it's free. You might as well do it now. And I was like, no, thank you. Not for me. So I'm having fun helping people on my own. I don't need to sign up for that Beachbody coach thing. But realistically, guys, I want you to understand it was my fear. I was afraid to sign up for something and fail. I got over the part of thinking it was like Miguel thought, like a pyramid scheme or some sort of scam. It was more of a fear of, I don't think I can do that. I'm not a salesman. I'm good at working for somebody. I sit down, I work hard, and I show up every single day. So I continued my journey like that. And the day that I became a coach was 19 days after my 3rd daughter was born, Elena. And I was sitting in my office, and I know some of you guys might have felt like this before. I was just crushed. I felt like the world was surrounding around me, like tunnel vision. And it was because those doctor bills were starting to come in from the pregnancy, from the birth of my 3rd daughter. And we were off of our overtime at this time. And I could not understand or even comprehend how I was going to pay our mortgage and pay our bills and then even pay these doctor bills that were coming in with my wife home. I was like writing on paper, like this much for a babysitter. So my wife can still go to work and trying to calculate everything. I was always writing out all these numbers and nothing matched up. And this day I'm doing this, I hop on Facebook on my lunch break at work and I see all these freaking Beachbody coaches on a cruise in the Caribbean. And it made me mad. It made me mad because I was doing the workouts that they were doing. I was helping people like they were helping people. I was blogging, not to sell anything. I blogged to share my journey and to help people because I had been doing P90X for a solid year. And so I was like doing all this stuff and I was not getting paid for it. And I was not on a cruise in the Caribbean. I was in Idaho freezing, sitting in my cubicle, and that was the day. That was the day I decided this is when I'm going to start. So that's my story up to there. That's all I'm going to share right now, because I know some of the other questions we can lead in and answer those. But the question that right here that's posed is, what are your daily habits that make you so successful? And I know the question kind of went on to say, you must have a few key habits. And also, are there any organizational scheduling tips to help you keep focused in order to get the things done you need to do and push forward in your daily business? So the daily habits, guys, are so basic and simple. The things that I do today are the things that I did back when I first started as a coach in April of 2011. So I share in my team page on my blog, like the banner of our team page says the 10 things you should do every single day. So I'm very disciplined in doing those 10 things every day and making sure that I do the 3 vital behaviors first on a daily basis. So how do I say scheduled and do that? You know, Miguel talked in a little bit of the introductions. Like nowadays I have my mom, which is a blessing to be my personal assistant. So she gets to do a lot of the things from the list, like check into my coach online office, send welcome emails to new customers, send thank you emails to all the orders, to all the free customer leads that I get. She does all that stuff, you know, that anybody else can do. And that was a hard thing for me because I like to do everything. So it was hard for me to give that away, but it was also a blessing to give my mom the opportunity to work from home and to leave her job with the school district she'd worked at for so long. So she does a lot of those things. So nowadays, that's what helps me as a bigger leader in the business to stay focused on those daily activities. But you got to realize in the first year and a half, I did all those things every day. And it was that list of 10 things I do every single day. If you message me or just go to my blog and search 10 things I do every day, I have a blog post. They're listed in there, and I actually have a video where I walk through it. So those are the daily habits that I do on the daily basis. Now, how do you stay productive and get things done? You know, our team now has a downline of 23,000 coaches, which absolutely blows my mind because it started with just one. It started with me with that goal and that big dream and vision of bringing my wife home from work so she could take care of the kids instead of sending them off to daycare. So I had that driving force in the beginning, and that's what you'll understand a lot about me and my story when I first started. So I was willing to do whatever it took to do that. So being busy, going to work at 5:30 in the morning, I'm not going to talk about what I do to be successful now because it's much different than where you guys are at starting right now. You guys have a busy lifestyle. So doing that list of 10 things to do, this is how my day looked. I got up and I was at work at 5:30. I had a lunch break from 12 to 1, and I came home around 5:30 as well. At that point, I picked the kids up from the neighbors. They had been there for 2 hours because my wife went to work at 3 and got home at 11:30 at night. So they're at the neighbor's house from 3 to 5. I picked them up at 5. I fed them, read stories with them, played with them, gave them their baths, all that stuff on my own when I first started as a coach. And so I had to make some sacrifices. Like I had to stop playing softball in the evenings, which I absolutely love doing. And I had to stop playing video games and many things like that to build this business. And I started building the business from day one. So the day I signed up, because I had that point, right? Over those 8 months, I overcame the fear. I was ready. I believed in myself. And that's why I signed up to do this. And so when that happened, sorry, cut out a minute. So when that happened, I went all in, and I had to stay very focused because I was at work during the day, watching the kids from 5 to 8, and then I had 8:30 to start working. So I worked every day from 8:30 to midnight. And guys, as the business grew to that point where I was transitioning to full-time, I know that's another question, so I'll go way into that. You know, sometimes it was 8 to 12, but the thing I want you to understand is every day in my office at work and when I was in the shop, I had my phone, and instead of listening to music, I was listening to books like Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Next Door, The Slight Edge, The Compound Effect, and many other calls and in audios like that, which fueled my mind and fueled my belief. So that was a way to stay focused, is to always have that positive, reinforcing personal development in my mind 24/7. And that's what kept the belief in me. And I also took my lunch hour, even though I blocked out my time from 8 at night to 12 at night to do my work on my Beachbody business. Every lunch, I used to take a nap because I worked so much. I slept in my car. I had to take that nap time and turn it into blogging time and to set phone calls and to mentor leaders and have phone calls with them, to get on the phone and invite customers to my challenge group, to invite people to join my team as a coach. So I had to stay focused on that activity. And that's what I did. And that's what my habits look like. And I didn't miss a day. I did 7 days a week. At least, on Sunday I did at night after the kids were in bed. I did the 2 hours, or 3 hours, and I did every single day, and I never missed a single day for 365 days. So I understood completely the compound effect and what would happen if I just trusted the process and moved forward. And you guys got to understand, I did that and never missed a day. And I didn't even go 1-star diamond until month 14 in the business, guys. So you got to understand that was a lot of faith to not be advancing in rank and continuing on that path like that. So how to stay focused, guys, even right now I have, and Miguel will know, it takes me forever to answer his text because I'm very disciplined in not answering text messages, phone calls, voicemails, and Facebook messages unless it's my designated work time. So when I do that, I can make sure that I do the vital behaviors first. I can make sure that I read my books, right? First thing every morning, I can make sure I do my workout, read my books, and then I make posts and make videos that will inspire other people before anybody else even reaches out to me, or before I reach out to them and start that list, because I want to be able to give myself everything I can so I can be strong mentally and be able to help other people. So that is, Miguel, that's what I do for my daily habits to make me so successful. I do not miss a day. Unless I go on a vacation, nowadays, like I'm going on a Disney cruise with my family and my sisters and in-laws next week, I'll completely shut off then. But normal weeks, I don't miss a day. I show up no matter what. Even with a broken collarbone and a flooded basement, I still show up, even on painkillers. I show up and do the best that I can every single day. And it's just because that's a decision that I made, and it's a decision that I'm going to stick to. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Miguel.
Your line is now muted.
Whoa, 2 of us. I don't know if this room can handle that. Yeah, you better get out of here. Just kidding. That was awesome. That was super good. So let me go on here. Let's keep going. So we got lots of good value to give you guys. So so this is another one. What questions does he, I guess me, ask people after he finds out they're interested? And this also kind of goes with the question of what do you tell people to, the value of Shakeology and all that kind of stuff as well. But so I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this. So here's my thing, okay? Because I don't want to tell you guys the stuff that doesn't really work. And so this is the total truth. So in terms of what I ask people when I find out they're interested, I'll be honest, people usually don't message me, and this is how I do the business, right? People don't usually message me and say, I'm kind of interested. Most people that message me are gung-ho, choking me, want to become a coach, begging me to sign up, to the point where sometimes it's I don't even respond to some people because I one of my top coaches right now, Jen Wall, I think it is, who hit Success Club 130, I don't know, might as well be 2,000 last month. She messaged me a couple times. I didn't respond to her right away because I was so busy. And thank goodness I did. Oh my gosh, because if I hadn't got back to her, my life would have been completely different. True story. And she's amazing, right? And so why am I saying that? It's not to say that, anything else other than to say this, that what I try and do, to be totally honest with you, is I try and give people ridiculous value. That's one of my secrets, I guess you could say, is throughout my entire life, in other things I've been successful at before, I've always looked at it in this very simple way. I've looked at it if I go for lunch with someone and I have 30 minutes of their day, 30 minutes to sit across from them, I want them to go home and say, wow, those 30 minutes with Miguel, were the most valuable moments of the day, if not the week, if not the month, and maybe sometimes the year. And the reason I say that to you is because that's what this is all about. It's about giving, in my mind, so much more value to people beforehand, ridiculous value. Make people addicted in my way. What I do is my Facebook, right? I don't have 50,000 followers on my personal Facebook. I have a lot of followers for sure. I have a lot of Facebook friends, but ultimately it's not about the quantities, because some people ask me well, you have 32,000, 40,000 fans on your Facebook like page. That must be why he's successful, guys. And that was one of the questions. And I'll be honest, I don't really I have a like page, but most of I would tell you 90% of my stuff is actually from my personal page. And the reality is you don't even see any of it, right? You don't see me the way that I do my business, posting a ton of stuff about inviting to challenge groups. Do you guys ever find that a little bit odd, maybe, that you don't see me doing that so much? You know, I do it. I don't want to say I don't do it. I do it like once a month, and I do coach invites like once a month. But that's it. I don't do it like all the time. Most of what I'm doing on my Facebook is giving crazy value, like making videos, sharing cool quotes, stories, all that kind of stuff, because I've always believed that if you give someone an incredible amount of value, that when they start thinking about health and fitness or weight loss, or you post an amazing before and after transformation of one of your coaches, then they're naturally going to be like, hey, I'm ready to go, and I want you to help me. And for me, that's enough now, after a couple of years, that I'm going to have anywhere from 20 to 30 people a month reach out to me and say, hey, Miguel, I'm ready. I want to change my life. I want to get in great shape. I want to do all these things. So I love this quote that says, here's the simple but powerful rule. Always give people more than they expect to get. So let me go a little bit deeper so you understand what I mean by that. So even if someone, says they want more info on 21 Day Fix, now they're all excited and they want more info on it. The amount of value that you position to people, like how many of you have ever asked people ask you, how much does it cost? How much is the challenge pack? Right? Everybody asks that at some point. They're going to be like, how much is the challenge pack? And most people say, okay, well, it's $154 if you're in Canada, or $140 or whatever it is. I never answer that way. I never do. Usually, if that's the first thing they ask me, the first thing I tell them is like, well, it totally depends. Tell me more about yourself. What are your goals, right? Because it's a conversation. Like say it was your mom that came up to you and said, hey, son, I'd really like to start getting in shape. How much is the workout program? Would you answer your mom saying, it's $140. Do you want to buy it? I have the link. But yet so many people do that. So many of you do that. And I'm like, why? No, you would never answer your mom like that. My mom's on the call, I'm pretty sure. She'd probably get super mad at me. I would obviously give it to my mom for free. But I start a conversation. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what are your goals? And, how can I, and this is a key question to ask, how can I help you? How can I make this happen for you? And then eventually, once you have their story and like what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, and you understand exactly what it is that they want, right? And let's say that it is 21 Day Fix, it's the right one for them, right? Then what do I say? Obviously, at that point, then I'm going to answer how much it is, right? Well, then how much is it? Then I tell them, right? And I tell them the value first. I always position the value first before the cost, right? So I'm like, well, you're going to get the 7 containers, right? The portion control containers to tackle the issue about counting calories. I don't want you to count calories because counting calories is going to be hard. And I hit enter if it's a Facebook message. Or I'm doing it on the phone, which is even better. I'll be honest. Most of what I do is on the phone. Most stuff I don't do on Facebook. Right? I post on Facebook, but I get people on the phone. That works really well for me. And then they're like, oh, that's awesome. And then I'm like, yeah, and remember how you said you didn't really like making meals? Yeah. Well, we actually give you 30 meals that you can have throughout the month. It's all included in this kit as well. You get a nutrition plan that's customized so that you can follow the color-coded guide to learn how to eat the right food properly so you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And you also said that you didn't have time to work out, so this workout's 30 minutes, that's it, and you do it 7 days a week. And in 21 days, based on what you told me, I'm pretty sure we can help you lose anywhere from 5 to 8 pounds. I can't promise you, but I'm pretty sure you could do that. Would that work for you? Would that be great if you could lose 8 pounds in the next 21 days and learn to eat properly and get 30 meals? Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. How much is it? What's $140? That's it? That's typically the response I get, honestly, guys. Because not only have I talked to someone, but I've made a friend. And once you make a friend, and once you give incredible value, right? And again, the way that I do it, I don't reach out to people and say, hey, do you want to buy a challenge pack? Hey, do you want to buy a challenge pack? Hey, do you want to buy a challenge pack? I just give incredible value on my Facebook. And then when they're reaching out to me, most people have probably been following me for like 6 months, right? 8 months sometimes. And then they're going to come to me, and then I have this really conversation. Most of them are like, wow, I didn't think you'd respond. I'm so excited. I love your videos. It's so great, blah, blah, blah. And it's a done deal, and they know I'm going to help them be successful. So that's really like what I try and do. So the conversation points or element are important. But ultimately, if you can remember one thing out of this slide is always give people more value than they expect to receive. 10 times over. 10 times over the value. And they will never say no to you. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass it back to Scotty.
Your line is now unmuted.
Okay. Dude, that was some awesome advice there, Miguel. So thank you for that. The next question on here is, what are the unique opportunities, challenges you face as a male coach, and how have you dealt them? So this is probably one of my favorite topics, guys. I don't think there's any unique opportunities or challenges as a male coach that I really need to deal with, or that any male coach on here needs to deal with. I think it's a mindset thing. Most of us on this call, actually everybody on this call, if you're a part of our team and our downline, has been a coach, has started after I did in April of 2011. So I want you guys to know, when I started as a coach, the top coach in the company was Josh Spencer, a male coach. And every top male coach before that was a male coach. Every top coach of the company was a male coach. After Josh came a guy he sponsored named Wayne Wyatt, and he was top coach 2 years in a row. It wasn't until 2012, 13, 14 that the women really started to move forward into the top 10 of this business. Before, it was mainly men. So when I started as a coach, I didn't have this mindset block that's like, oh my gosh, all the top elite, top 25 and top 10 coaches are females. Maybe guys can't do this. And I believe fully that that's what it is, guys, that the guys have this idea because all the top coaches that are right now are females. So the guys it's just a mindset thing. I didn't have that mindset thing to block me in the beginning. I saw guys as the top coaches, so I knew that I could become a top coach. The same thing with Miguel, him and I meeting at the summit, and then going out to Toronto with his team and everybody out in Toronto. Guys, he didn't have anything to compare. Like, he saw me as a top coach, as a friend, and then last year he ended up number 11 in the company. So let's get rid of that thing about unique opportunities and challenges. About being a male coach, we're no different than the females. I joke with my coaches and the guys that you just got to cry sometimes, right? That's the only difference. You got to show your emotions, not try to act so tough all the time. And it's all about the gun shows and the muscles and the fitness and the gym. It's about connecting with people. And maybe I have an advantage of that by having my first 3 kids being daughters and I only have sisters. Maybe I have that ability better to connect. But that's all it is, guys. The only thing that you need to focus on is realize that you just have to be able to connect with people, guys. And the same thing when you're running challenge groups or training your coaches, it's on an individual level. You can't take there's systems in place, but you have to adapt to each person. And I want you guys to know, so every guy on here can take this business to the next level, moving from here on out. We had 12 diamond coaches last year, 12 new diamond coaches that were personally sponsored, and 7 of them were male coaches. That's 7, guys. So 7, that's 50% of them. So we're showing you guys that when you get rid of that mindset, which is what I'm teaching my guy coaches, that we're just the same as the females. And we've shown that and began to prove that with our business in having 50% of our diamond coaches become star diamonds. My last 2 star diamond coaches are male coaches. We have Sean up in Canada, and we have one of my best friends here in Idaho Falls, Scott Gutke, going 1-star diamond qualifying yesterday. So it's really just a mindset, guys, of realizing that the girls don't have any secret advantage over us, and that you just have to learn to connect a little bit better, because that's what this business is about, is connecting with other people, male and female. And I guess the only advice I could give you is don't be a creep when you're messaging girls. Be normal, be respectful. One thing, all the girls that I write, all my girl coaches, I call them sis, like a sister, just so they know what kind of relationship I feel like I have with them, that I feel like they're a part of my family, calling them like a sister. So those are the unique opportunities. I believe as a male coach, you have a ton of opportunity to really get focused on your why of spending more time with your kids instead of spending all your time at an office, and creating more freedom and time freedom. And even if your goal isn't long-term to be a full-time coach, at least creating extra income to where you can pay for their weddings, help pay for their school, take a good quality vacation without being stressed about the income. So take those challenges and all those things that I've talked about and make them into your opportunities, and realize that it's really just in your mind. Just knowing that the girls don't have any advantage over you. You can do the same things they can do on social media, just like Miguel said and I said, and that I'm going to say right now. If you guys watch, I'm the same way as Miguel. People come to me, and they've been watching my videos or my Facebook for months upon months. Some of them have even told me they've watched me from the day I started. So they've been watching me for 4 years. So that's the importance of adding tremendous, ridiculous value, as Miguel would say, on your Facebook, on your blog, or on social media, on YouTube, whatever it is. So you add that value to them and just do it in that way. So take that advice as a male. Is the girls may be better at sharing their feelings on social media. Just know that you can do the same thing. And, you may have friends make fun of you in the beginning. I know I had friends make fun of me. I had friends block me in the beginning. But the truth of the matter is, guys, my favorite man, Les Brown, says, other people's opinions of you do not define your reality. So decide what you want and boldly live that on your social media and add that ridiculous value to everybody every single day. And you're going to be able to, as a male coach, connect with other male coaches and female coaches across the country through your social media. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Miguel.
Your line is now muted. Your line is now unmuted.
Hey, you're muted, Miguel.
Your line is now muted.
Am I unmuted now? Okay. All I was saying was, I'm glad you gave me some more time there, because when you said the creep thing, I actually spilled all my water. I was laughing so hard, so I gave you a little more time. But anyway, I'll keep going. I'll start laughing again. So I'm going to be real quick on this one, because I want to give Scotty a little more time on the next question. I think he's going to add a ton of value on that one, and I really want to hear it. Which the next question he's going to answer is, when did he know he would transition from what he was doing to be a full-time Beachbody coach? And so I want to hear that one. So I'll do this one real quick, because I kind of talked about it already, which is how do I close the deal and to buy challenge packs and show people the value of Shakeology and the fence sitters. Again, I want to be really clear on this. There are some people out there that understand every ingredient in Shakeology, and maybe their background is pharmaceuticals or whatever it is. I have Jen Wall, who's on my team, who really gets all that stuff, and that's awesome. And if you understand all those things, and here's my key point I'm going to make before I'll tell you how I answer it, is whatever your strengths are, you got to play off your strengths, right? My strengths are not that. I would struggle to name you 3 ingredients in Shakeology. And yes, I've been drinking it every day pretty much since I started. I remember the first time I drank it and it came in, I was like, because I was in Canada, right? So I signed up as a coach. Things started going well. It took me like a month to get it. I finally got it. And I remember getting the bag, and I was like, and things were going good. And I was like, oh man, I really friggin' hope I like how this tastes. I still remember that. I was like, and I made it in the blender and it tasted amazing. So I was like, thank you, Lord. Because otherwise I was like, I'm going to have to be out. And it tasted awesome. So I'm so happy about that. But here's the thing with all this stuff. I don't know how any of this stuff, like the Shakeology, how it's made. I just have trust in the company that it's good. So the way that I really close all of my deals has nothing to do with the workout program, has nothing to do with Shakeology. A lot of it has to do with a mindset. And that's what kind of this slide shows you. And I love this quote is, and suddenly you just know it's time to find the way to something more. And let that sink in for a second, because I think that's really important. I think for me, like that's one of those things that's what I want people to think when they're talking to me. I want them to get to a point where they realize that enough is enough, and they're going to move on, and they're going to accomplish something different. They're going to get in better shape. They're going to say enough is enough, and they're going to maybe get in better financial shape, and they're going to want to become a Beachbody coach. Whatever it is, I want them to get to that point. So the way that I close the deal, it might be 6 months or 4 years, as Scotty said, right? I'm not actually trying to close anything ever. I never force a sale or a close or anything like that. I believe in the law of abundance, right? A lot of people don't understand what that is, but the law of abundance basically says that there is enough for all of us, right? We were all put on earth by God, and He's given all of us everything that we need. So there's no need for, competition other than friendly. There's no need for, oh no, what if I lose this customer or this client? What happens? It doesn't matter, because if you lose one customer, you're going to get 10 more back. I've always believed that. So it doesn't really matter. So if you believe that, then you don't have to feel that pressure anymore. And if you can release that pressure, in my mind, of, oh no, I got to hit step 5, And you go from, oh no, I hope I hit Success Club 5 to there's 20 people I'm going to meet this month that all are going to buy challenge packs. And suddenly they're going to realize that they need in their life. That's really how I approach the business, and that's worked really well for me. My first year, guys, I wasn't hitting crazy numbers. I think the first month I hit Success Club 23 or something like that, and then I kind of petered off. There was actually 7 months in, I hit Success Club 7 or 8. I missed Success Club 10, and then I kind of just was consistent, right? So I wasn't like hitting crazy Success Club numbers, right? So that's not really how I built my business. And it's grown immensely. Our team almost has 1,800 coaches on it now. And it's just, it was all from, this mindset that I believe is that if you help other people, those people are going to see that ridiculous value, and they're going to want to be associated with you, and they're going to want help from you. And at some point, they're going to say, suddenly, you just know it's time to find a way to something more. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Scotty here.
Your line is now unmuted.
Okay. Man, I hate seeing that picture right now because I broke my collarbone and had surgery, so I can't work out, and I look nothing like that right now. So I have a new before picture to work on. So when did you know that you would transition from your former full-time job to full-time Beachbody, and how did that unfold for you? So my 100% why, the reason for working hard and sacrificing sleep, softball, which I loved, playing Call of Duty, which I loved. I was really good at those things, but I decided I could put all that energy and focus into Beachbody coaching and become really good at that, which would make my life better than those other things did. So when I started, I asked my coach, Lindsay, I said, hey, I really need to make $10,000 with Team Beachbody. Tell me how to do that. Can I do that? If so, I'm ready to go. And she said, Scotty, I can't promise you $10,000, but I promise your income will be a direct reflection of the number of lives that you change. So it was that day that I decided I would change as many lives as it took. And guys, I knew nothing about multi-level marketing or network marketing, or that I was even in a network marketing company. I just knew I was a Beachbody coach, and I thought everybody should be a Beachbody coach because of the tremendous value I saw by being connected to positive people. And I loved the Shakeology, and I loved the workouts after I got signed up, and I figured this out about Beachbody and the network marketing part. I knew everybody should be a part of this, okay? But the thing is, I didn't know how the team worked. I didn't know you can make team bonus cycles, matching bonuses, company, star bonus matches. I didn't know anything about that stuff. All I knew is I made 25% commission on the sales I had to make. So if you do the math, I literally thought that I had to sell like 300 P90Xs over the course of those next 9 months in that year to make $10,000. I thought I had to find 300 people. And at the rate I was going, I was getting like 1 out of 30 people that I would talk to interested in Beachbody coaching. And so I was like, I got to talk to thousands of people if I'm going to make this happen. But the thing was, guys, that I decided that day I was going to do whatever it took. Instead of spending 3 hours a night playing Call of Duty and developing my skills in that, I was going to develop my skills as a person in connecting with people and working with people and learning this business and understanding it and growing confidence in myself. So I decided that day I was going to do it. So I took off running full speed. My coach said that in the number of lives you change. I'm like, okay, I'm going to change thousands of lives. I'm going to do this. And I just got to work. I set my business hours and I got to work. Just learning the business, taking in every call, every national wake-up call I could. I downloaded all the podcasts. I listened to them at work, listened to good books. And I just got to work. And I decided I was going to hit success. I didn't decide. Lindsay Matway told me you need to hit Success Club 10 every month. Because part of my getting started right, I asked her my goal. I told her my goal is at $10,000. And it was also to go on that cruise. You remember the cruise that made me extremely mad that I wasn't on? I was like, I want to go on that next trip. And she said, you need to hit Success Club 10 every single month to make it on that trip. So it was that day I decided I would never miss Success Club. And as of right now, we've hit Success Club 10 47 months in a row. I've never missed that goal. And there's times, guys, I'll tell you in the first year, I wondered how that would happen. I was scared on how to find people and make that happen. But I had faith that if I did the work and showed up every day, that would happen. That I could find the people, that God would place them in my life. And it was from these books that I was reading. If I focus on what I want and I do the activity of meeting new people, connecting with new people, putting tremendous value out, which was what Lindsay was doing, I knew that they would come to me. Just like Miguel said, he gets 30 people that come to him a month. I didn't have that in the beginning. I have that now. because I stayed so consistent in that. But I didn't have that in the beginning. So I was out digging every single day, and that was my main activity, doing my workouts, listening to those audios all day, and inviting people like there was no tomorrow. Like my life depended on it, because it did. My life did depend on it. So that's the pace I took off with this business from day one. I remember I hit Success Club 10 in my first 2 weeks, and I hit Diamond in 93 days during a team cup, which is why those team cups are so important, because I was challenged in that cup to hit Diamond during that time. And I didn't know what Diamond meant. I had 14 coaches, and Lindsay's like, hey, you could be a Diamond. And I'm like, how does that happen? I don't even know what that means. And then that's when she taught me about this is network marketing and how that worked and the compensation plan. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty big. This is a pretty cool thing. I didn't understand that about this. So, to go to Diamond after I got to that point, it was just simply honestly making my wife an emerald on one side, and then helping identify one of my coaches out of those 14 on the other side and helping them become an emerald. Getting them into the activity that I was in. And honestly, guys, it was only about one of those 14 coaches that was willing to work at the pace or the speed that I was going at. So going forward with that, that was the pace I went, guys. And, I had my set schedule, and my goal, I was going to bring my wife home and make those $10,000. I didn't know how many people I had to help, but I knew I had to help a whole bunch and that the money would follow. And I focused on that. I visualized that $10,000. I visualized my wife not having to work. I visualized not having to pick my kids up. I visualized everything about that every day as I went to work. And that was the thing that helped me do it when I was tired and I wanted to sleep. That's the thing that helped me do it when my friends invited me to sub for the softball team that I quit and say, no, hey, I can't. I'm working on a business right now. That's the thing that when I did show up to a softball game, like on a Saturday, I took my flyer to show my results and invite them to Fit Club. And when every single one of them crumpled it up and threw it in the garbage can, that reason of that $10,000 and bring my wife home is the thing that pulled me forward and not want to quit when everybody was laughing at what I was doing. So I went at that pace and went through that stuff, all that hard stuff. But the only reason is because I was so focused on what I wanted and knew so clearly that it would happen because of the good books that I was filling my mind with every single day. So as I went forward with that, I hit Success Club. I got Diamond in the 93 days. Honestly, it could have been about 60 days if I would have understood what a Diamond was in the beginning. And I went forward with that and hit Success Club every month. And it wasn't until about 5-6 months in, I was getting tired. I was worn out, guys. I was doing this with all my heart, and I knew it was going to happen. I was like 5 months in, and I was like getting to the point that would replace my wife's income. All I needed was $250, $300 a week, and I could replace her income of her working the front desk of the hotel. So I got to that point, and I remember, guys, sitting there, and in Lindsay's team page, someone posted a screenshot of their income of $420. And it blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, if I could just make $420 with Team Beachbody, if I can get to that place, this is going to change our entire lives. So I got to that point, guys. I got to that 400. We started thinking about Gabby coming home from work and made that decision that she's going to come home. We're going to replace her income with this. But the thing is, guys, that really took me from doing my job and doing Beachbody as my side business, creating, as Jim Rohn would say, creating your wealth on the side, working your day job during the day, is a point at 8 months. It was about 8 months into my business. I was homesick for 3 days, and some of you guys might have heard this before. I was homesick for 3 days, and my wife's like, hey, you should probably get up, move around, just start to feel better. You'll start to feel, good if you just get up and move around. I had the man cold, the man sickness. And she's like, why don't you walk down to the school bus and get Kina? And that was my oldest daughter at the time, 5 years old. And I got my coat on. I walked down there. I was halfway down the cul-de-sac, and my daughter, the bus stops, the door opens, and I see this little 5-year-old girl at the top of the stairs of that bus. And at that moment, my vision of my life became so much more clearer. It's the point where I stopped, where it wasn't anymore just like I could bring my wife home. I was like, holy crap. I could totally, if I just keep pushing, even though it's so hard right now, I've already made it this far. I can take it to the next level. It's already proven to work. I've seen Lindsay do it. I'm seeing it work for me in these first 8 months. If I just keep pushing harder and keep working harder at this and put more focus into this, I can bring not only my wife home from work, but I can leave my job as well. So the thing that took me from that 8 months till I left my job at 14 months was that I developed a deeper and stronger why, where I realized that I could bring myself home from work, and I could see not only Kina, but I could see Mila get off the bus every day. I could take her to the bus. I could see Alina, who will be going to school this fall for the first time in preschool. I could see her get on the bus. And, at that time I didn't have a son, but realized that if we were to have more kids, that I would not even miss a moment of that child's life. I wouldn't have to try to avoid at night getting woke up, to help with the baby, right? Sorry to say that, ladies, but because I knew I had to get up, I knew I only had 4 hours of sleep before I had to get to work. I knew that I could be a stay-at-home dad and help play that role and make life easier on my wife and on me. So that's the thing that took me to the next level, guys, from transitioning, was just deepening the why of why I was doing this, which made me work with more intensity. I was able to connect with more people because there were other dads and guys and stay-at-home parents just like me. As I shared that story and what I was doing, why I was working so hard on this and showing that growth and doing all that, adding ridiculous value, as Miguel says, that's when I started to connect with more and more people. And so to transition, I left at Summit. I quit my job. I never came back to work after I went to Summit that year. And the thing is, guys, to be honest with you, at that point, at 14 months into the business, we were making about $1,700 a week with Beachbody, where I took it from that 8 months to that 14 months from like $400 a week to $1,700 a week, which then gave me a great cushion of being able to leave my job. I never recommend somebody leave their job if they're not matching their income, because I don't want you to be stressed about money and then turn your business into all about money so that you are trying to survive. It's okay to have a why that like I needed money in the beginning to bring my wife home, but I don't want you to quit your job to do this to stress out about, are you going to be able to pay your bills? So that's the advice that I make is grow your business past that point. If you get to a point in your business where you know without a doubt you're going to do this, you've decided that, then the best thing to do is wait till your income gets past that level, because once it gets to that level, it really compounds fast. I mean, once it hit $2,000 a week, it moved to $3,000 a week within 5 weeks. So it really compounds once you get to that type of level in the business with how the compound effect works. But the thing that you can do if you're really wanting to transition into a job and you just feel like you can't do it anymore, Miguel, I had Miguel read that one book. But one thing you could do is you could hire out some of the stuff that anybody could do. You could hire out help with your coach online office, with new customer leads, and then leave all of your time that you have to the phone calls, to the connecting with people, to the adding the tremendous value with your YouTube or your blog or your Facebook, doing those things that I say create the magic that attract people into your life. So if you're trying to get to that point, maybe you're working a year and you need to increase your income by another 500 or another 1,000 and you're just exhausted, you have to keep pushing through that wall. But if you need help, hire it out. Reinvest some of your money in and help a family member. Like I was able to help my mom, help a friend that you can trust to do some things for you, just for a little extra income. I know back in the day, if I would have had a friend that was a successful Beachbody coach, and he told me that I could work 3 hours a day from home for like $8 an hour or even $10 an hour from home doing social media stuff, I would have jumped all over that. So if you need to do something like that, do that to help you put more of your focus into the magic part of it, which is the connecting with people. So that's my advice for you transitioning from the part-time or from doing this as a hobby or even a business on the side while you're doing your full-time job, is you've got to get a little bit deeper on your why. So you're really driven to do this, and then, ask for help if you need it. So I'm going to pass it back to you, Miguel.
Your line is now muted.
That was awesome. I was taking notes. That was really good. Okay, let me go real quick here on this one, and then we got 3 more after this, and we're good. So, how does he balance his presence on Facebook, personal, and business? Okay, so
So here's the deal. Like, it's funny. Like, I always hear people say, like, well, you're like you're amazing at Facebook, or you know all these things about Facebook. I know a couple of tricks. So I'm going to give those to you in a second here. But I will tell you that the little tricks or whatever, like, they don't really do anything unless you're kind of doing this. And I'll explain it with a story that I kind of gave a couple days ago. Because that's really what this is all about. The whole business is about helping people, which I think is amazing. If you look at the top 10, like, people are like, oh, you must have been pretty bummed that you got 11th and, like, you missed top 10 by, like, 1 point. That must have been a total bummer. And honestly, like, it wasn't. Like, maybe it was for, like, maybe 5 minutes. But then immediately, like, I went from, like, oh, no, I missed it. And then I was like, I just got 11th out of 240,000 freaking coaches, right? Like, I was excited, and I was, like, so pumped that I was able to, like, help people. And I did it all, like, just by helping so many people. So there are tricks with Facebook, so I'll give you a couple real quick ones. You know, a lot of the ones that I use, a big one that I use is lists. Okay, so the big trick with Facebook, and people don't get this, a lot of newer coaches, especially if you're a newer coach, you know, there's this one little thing you're not going to understand, which is, even though you post something on your Facebook, chances are 95% of the people that are your friends or following you are not going to see it, right? So you're kind of wondering, like, okay, well, why? And so what I figured out is how to make sure that as many people as possible can actually see my posts. And that's really the key. Not only that, but here's the other thing as well, is how can I make it so that people that are not Beachbody coaches see my posts? Especially as we grow and Scotty grows and you're going to grow as well, you're going to have a lot of people, probably 80% of our friends and followers are actually Beachbody coaches already, which is great, and that's awesome. I know Scotty and I are both completely transparent, and we share everything that we know, so that's fine, but ultimately we do need to grow our business, as Scotty said, and, you know, provide for the family. And so what I do is these tricks, and I'll tell them to you real quick. So one of the things that I do, which you probably know already, is you comment on other people's stuff. So when I do a post, like, when I'm adding value all the time, but when I do a post, like, say, you know, a withdrawal, so I look at everything like deposits and withdrawals. So if I do a post where I'm going to invite to a challenge group, I'm going to run an open house group or something like that, I want to make sure that people that are not coaches and aren't challengers see my stuff. So what I do is, whenever someone adds me on Facebook as a friend, I try and figure out if they're already a coach or if they're a potential challenger, and I add them to a list. Facebook allows you to make lists. If you haven't made lists, I'm not going to train you on how to do that, but you can go on YouTube and look up how to make Facebook lists. And I put everyone on a list. So I have a list for existing challengers. I have a list for existing coaches on my team. I have a list for potential coaches. And that's how I do my business. I don't, like, a lot of you, I bet you most of you actually go onto Facebook and you're like, oh, click like, comment, ooh, squirrel, yay, so cool. Oh, look at that video. That video is awesome. I'm going to share it. A lot of you use Facebook like that. I don't, you know, unless I'm sitting watching TV and I intentionally want to just chill out and, you know, waste time, which I don't do very well. I need to work on that. And that's why I'm trying to find a hobby. I'm actually taking up boxing soon. So the way that I use Facebook is with purpose, right? So just like Scotty, that's how we get along so well. I text him. He might not text me for 3 or 4 days. I know he's busy with his family or he's doing stuff, and that's fine. Doesn't mean he hates me. It just, he's got his priorities straight. And just with Facebook, I do as well, right? So to me, if I do an invite for, like, we're doing this, I'm doing this open house group, immediately after that, I don't just let it sit and go, sweet, let's go for a run and let's go party, or I'm going to go for lunch now. No. Nothing has been done yet. You just posted something, but now the next step is get people to see that post. So how do you make that happen? Well, when you have that list of potential challengers or potential coaches, what I do is I filter on that list as soon as I posted that, and I go and look through and I like the ones that I like, and I comment with thoughtful comments. You know, if someone's having a birthday, I won't just put happy birthday. You know, I'll put something detailed, or I'll look at my friends. So I start posting comments, and what happens is, what do you do when someone comments on your stuff and you see their name and you haven't seen it in a while? The first thing you do is you click on their name and you go look at what they've been up to, right? So if these are people that have asked you about challenge and packs in the past, which everyone always does, almost nobody buys it right away. That's just the way it works. Most of you probably give up. Oh, they didn't want it. That's fine. Move on. No, I don't do that. I add them to a list. And then when I do my invite, I go and I start liking and commenting, and I do this in about a 2-hour period. I set aside 2 hours, and I'm focused and I'm serious. I'm like, okay, liking, commenting, thoughtful comment, comment. And it's not fake. That's just naturally how I am. If I was sitting across from this person, that's what I would do, right? And so by doing that, all of a sudden, my Facebook affinity score with that person starts going up and up and up and up and up. They start seeing my posts. They start seeing them for a week or 2 weeks, and that really kind of brings them forward, and they start seeing my stuff. So that's a big trick that I use on Facebook that works pretty well. In terms of like my Facebook business page, absolutely. I use my business page as well, but I still find like, I have it set up because I think Facebook is going towards the business route, and there's a lot of stuff you can do like advertising, and we don't have time to cover that in this call, but ultimately, like, most of my business is closed on my personal page, and that's a fact. I use everything else to funnel people to my personal page, and on my personal page is really where I create relationships. And I was gonna tell an interesting story to kind of explain that, but I don't have a lot of time, so I'm not gonna go into that story. I'll have to leave the story for next time. You're probably wondering why there's a lady there taking out groceries from her car. But it's a crier story, so Scotty already did the crying bit, so I'm going to leave that one for another time. But that's really, hopefully that tip was helpful for you. That's one really big tip. If you can create custom lists, it's going to be super, super, super awesome for you guys. So let me give it back to Scotty here.
Your line is now unmuted.
I was wondering how we were going to get this call done in an hour when it usually takes me like 60 minutes to just get one small topic in. So I'm going to hurry. Next one, what do you think are the most important leadership skills to have in order to run your team efficiently and effectively? I'll just briefly tell you guys a couple of these things. Oh man, I love seeing this picture. This is from a leadership retreat that my coach Jennifer Greenberg put on this past December, Gatlinburg. I think the most important thing as a leader is to continue to grow yourself every single day. If they say you should do 15 minutes of personal development every day and you do 15 minutes, most likely if you're the leader, you're the one that's doing the most. So hopefully in that case, some people would be doing personal development. So if you're the leader, you need to be reading more than anybody else on your team. So that's one of the things that I think is a very important skill, is to always be able to grow yourself, to work on yourself. I mean, I listened to a 2.5 hour audiobook this morning, and I read 30 minutes in this book right here. And I listened to 2 old national wake-up calls, trying to increase my personal growth and development so that I can help more people. So I think that's the number one thing, is you got to be able to, there's so many topics on leadership, so I'm going to make this quick. But for me, it's continuing to grow myself and showing that growth by adding ridiculous value. Everything that I learn, I teach it on YouTube, or I teach it in my blog, or I teach it on my Facebook page. So that's what I'm doing every single day to do that. And another thing, to have a team as large as we do right now, with this business, and to still run an effective business, I believe a leader needs to be in the trenches. So actually, guys, even though it's almost been 4 years, I still feel like a brand new coach. And my coaches know that I'm doing the thing that they're doing. I'm out doing my 3 vital behaviors, doing my personal development, doing my invites, and working on my transformation consistently. So the question to make you guys know this is, I let my coaches know in the beginning of my team that the scripture, you can give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for life. So it's letting them know from the beginning. I let them know when you're going to be successful in this business, it's because of the effort that you put into it, and because you followed the example of those that are successful ahead of you. So following Miguel, Jennifer, Sandy, Rachel, Jen, all these guys in this picture that are building successful businesses, you're watching what they're doing, and then you're doing it yourself with your own personality and your own sauce. So my coaches know that they're going to be successful on their own terms, and that I'm going to love them no matter what. And I let them know that from the beginning. Another great thing, and I think the best question you can ask yourself, write this down, because I want you guys to ask yourself this every day. It's what I ask myself. At the end of every day, I ask myself this question. Write this down. If my coaches did exactly what I did today, would their business grow? So we all know the basics of the business. So did you do the 3 vital behaviors? Did you do it with the right mindset? Did you do it without complaining? Did you do it with a clearness of purpose? So if you're doing those things every single day, you're a successful coach. You're becoming a successful leader. And that's how you make a difference in others' lives, because you show up. A great leader is the one that shows up passionate and excited. You'll never hear a leader complain. A good leader complain about something. You're always willing to grow and change. Guys, we have the new Beachbody On Demand out. Like, we're excited about that. You have to understand that as a leader, you have to adapt and grow and change. You can't be the same person that you were 4 years ago. So if you've been a coach for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you're the exact same person today as you were 2 years ago, that's why your business is not where it's at, because you have not changed. You have not grown as a person. So that's what I believe the most important leadership skills are. Your ability to connect with people, but first and foremost, the ability to lead yourself, because that's what creates trust in others, that makes them want to take action on their life. Is they want to follow somebody that they know will be there a year from now. They want to know you're going to be there for them 4 years from now. So you've got to become that person. You've got to first learn how to lead yourself before you try to lead other people, because you cannot take somebody where you have not been. So that question, to answer it again, is if my coaches did what I did every single day, would their business grow? And that's an important question they ask, but I think the more important part of that is, did you do it with that excitement, with the clearness of your purpose? And did you do it without complaining about why you're not, if you're like complaining on why you're not a 1-star diamond, or why you don't have 10 Success Club points yet. And I mean, not complaining out loud, like subconsciously complaining about that. And you got to realize that if all of your coaches did that, nobody would be moving forward with their life or their business. So you've got to control and master and discipline yourself in that activity and behavior as a person. And when that happens, that's when other people can flourish into the coaches and the leaders that they're supposed to be and that they're designed to be by God. So that is my short tips on leadership skills, because I know we have a couple more questions. Take it away, Miguel.
Your line is now muted.
That was awesome. That was really good, and that's so key. I just want to say that again. Like, it's very rare that anyone on your team will ever outperform the leader. And so it will happen if you're consistent and you do what he said. Like, that's huge. Every single day. It never fails. I have coaches call me, like, hey man, I'm feeling down and I don't know what's going on with my team, and how can we fire them up? The first thing I ask them, I'm like, what'd you do yesterday? And chances are their team is floundering because they're floundering. And so that's huge. If you're not doing it, your team's not doing it either. Right? You can't lead by like telling people what to do. You got to lead by showing people what to do. Huge. Okay, so what's the one biggest tip you can give a new Beachbody coach? I'll answer this one really quick. I brought this one in, Scotty, just because I kind of answered the other ones all combined. So I threw this one in here. So what's the one biggest tip you can give a new Beachbody coach? My biggest tip I can give you is that all of you have baggage. You all do. I have baggage. Some of us have more baggage than others. And it will be very hard for you. I'm looking in the eye. It'll be very hard for you to become successful if you don't let go of all that baggage. It's not to say you'll let go of all of it, but your life, you will not feel fulfilled until you let go of this baggage. So some of you, and this was part of what I was going to talk about on the National Wake Up Call, is really some of you have things deep down inside rooted in you. Maybe it's an anger issue. Maybe it's an issue where, for some reason, you're angry at something that someone did to you at some point in your life. And you carry that around everywhere you go, and you think about them, once a day, and you've been doing this for 10 years, and, you just wish that, you're like, one day something will get back to them. Here's the thing. You're only poisoning yourself. You're literally drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. That's one of the quotes I've heard before. So the reality is you need to let that go if you have anger, because they probably don't even remember doing anything to you. And if you actually brought it up to them, they'd be like, oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even, who are you again? Right? So some of you have guilt issues. Some of you are guilty over something that you did. And I was listening to Joel Osteen. I love listening to Joel Osteen. He's on XM now. And he was saying, like, a lot of us have guilt issues. And one of the biggest things that we can do, and what what the Lord wants us to do is just forgive ourselves. Because that's one of the biggest things that can steal things from us, is feeling guilty over something you did. Own up to it, admit it, and move on and move forward, and don't carry that guilt, because that guilt is going to kill you more than what happened, right? Some of you have kids issues, and what I mean by kids issues, something wrong with having kids. I take my kids to Super Saturdays and events, and we have a great time. I take them to fit clubs, and they dress up as superheroes. But some of you use it as baggage. What I mean by that? Well, some of you say, well, I can't go to Super Saturday. I got kids. I can't do that, or I can't go there. Newsflash, when I was starting this business, I flew out to Cranbrook, BC, middle of nowhere, to meet a girl at the time that was maybe 22, 23, that I had for some reason I had a hunch she'd do well. She ends up becoming a top beach body coach in Canada last month, and she's one of the best coaches on our team. And, I gave up a lot of stuff to make it happen. And one of those things was kids, right? I didn't get a chance to spend as much time with my kids at that point. So don't use your kids as baggage. Use them as something good. Some of you have financial problem baggage. What do I mean by that? Well, some of you are like, well, I don't really have money. If I had money, everything would be solved. All my problems would be solved in the world. Hey, trust me, I was one of those people too that I thought, if I had money, I'll never have a problem again in my life. Let me tell you something. That Scotty will tell you too. He makes more than I do. That is not true. Money can make your problems even worse, or they can make them better. So really, the key thing here is, some of you have this baggage of financial problems. You just gotta let it go. Forget it. It's not gonna get solved. Chances are it's a deeper rooted issue. Some of you have problems of rejection, so you don't want to ask people, hey, do you want to buy a challenge pack? Because you're scared because someone has rejected you at some point in your life. Or some of you have blame issues where you blame Miguel. No, Miguel made more time for me, or Scotty made more time for me, or my upline coach was this person or that person. Stop doing that. It doesn't matter. Any coach in this company will help you. And frankly, there's better stuff of us on YouTube and Facebook than there are on team calls and one-on-one calls. Most of the one-on-one and team calls are more about getting you guys excited and pumped up, but the knowledge is all out there. We've published it all already because we want to be able to give people links to it, and we put it up there, right? It's all there. Some of you have ego issues, right? What I mean by that? Well, you're like, well, in high school, I was the top, volleyball player, basketball player of all time. I'm amazing. Or, well, I'm a lawyer. I'm this corporate. I'm amazing. Let that go. Who cares? No one cares if you were awesome 10 years ago. Good for you. That's amazing. New thing. You got to become awesome at something else now if you want this, right? Some of you have this baggage of loss, right? Someone passed away in your life, and you're carrying that around. Instead of carrying it around as a bad thing, say, okay, this, and it's harder in the beginning. I've had people pass away as well, but instead, come to an agreement that you're going to allow it to inspire you and change you. I have an aunt and an uncle that passed away young, and it hurt me, but at the same time, I have great memories of that. I have great memories of playing chess with my uncle. I have great memories of going to my aunt's house, and she would make these little milkshakes that she made. She put ice cream in them and bananas, and it was definitely not Shakeology. But I have these great memories, right? And I use that to inspire me. And when I'm running and I don't feel like running any further, I think of them, and I think of them running with me, or I think of my grandpa running with me, these people. So I don't use it as well, if I had these people in my life still, my life would be different. No, use it to empower you. Some of you have baggage of fear. You are scared. You know what? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear does not exist. If I were to ask every single one of you that are still on this call, how many of you are afraid of something, or how many of you have been afraid of something in your life? If you were to write down 10 things that you have been most afraid of in your life that have already happened, and you were to write them all out, I guarantee you that not one of them, maybe one, but 1 out of 10 maybe, that's it, had actually come true. Most things we're afraid of, hey, we're around, day 2, you're still good, you're still alive. It happened, it's gone, it's over. Fear does not exist. Fear only exists if you let it exist, because it will paralyze you from moving forward. So my biggest tip I can give you if you're a new coach is the faster you can get rid of, and these are just examples, the faster you can get rid of all this baggage, the sooner you will be successful. So I'll pass it back to Scotty.
Your line is now unmuted.
Okay, how do you find the balance between family and beach body? So you guys heard some of this in the very beginning when I had my schedule of what I did. But, finding balance between family and Beachbody was a very big struggle in the very beginning. It needed a lot of communication. There was a lot of arguments between Gabby and I on this is business time, this is my time, because she was working at night and I was working on my business. I play in a band as well. So it was a really tough thing, and we had to work through that struggle, and communicate and follow through with that. So just know that it wasn't just plain and simple and easy. It took a lot of communication, adjusting, and making that happen. And guys, Gabby's love language is quality time. So now here's this guy that works 12 hours a day, wanting to do 4 hours, 5 hours a night of Beachbody during, on the days that she's home from work. So we had to set apart a date night once a week, back in the time in those days, one night that was free to watch a movie together, so that we could have that balance. And the communication is what made us understand that we're only doing this 2 hour block of time for our date, and sacrificing all these other nights because I'm going to build this business that will create more freedom so we can have dates every night. So we can have this more time and freedom in the future. So it was communicating the vision between the two of us, working together on that, holding each other accountable when, I'd be on a date and I'd be over here. I'm going to have to I'm over here on my phone, on the side during the movie trying to sell challenge packs and whatnot. So, and I get a little slap on the hand. So we had to work through those things, and I had to become better at staying true to my priorities at the time and setting those boundaries. So how do you find balance between family and Beachbody? It's by setting your guidelines right now. If you set your guidelines right now, then it's just, you can transfer that into your future. So guys, right now I can tell you honestly, I work a solid 6 hour block of time for Beachbody. So I have my time blocked out. The morning time is all me. When I wake up at 6 until about 9 o'clock, that's 3 hours of just me time right now. That's my personal development. That's my workout. Just time for me. That's time for me to visualize, to set goals, to envision, to pray, to do all these things to work on me. So I have 3 hours of that. Help the kids get off to school a little bit, wrestle around with them a little bit. Then I sit down and I have a blocked out Beachbody business time. So that first time is also business time, but it's the 3 vital behaviors. It's me taking care of myself. And then the next time is blocked out basically from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock every single day is just Beachbody time. My wife, Gabby, knows that. My kids know that I'm working. I'm in my office. I shut the door and I go to work. And I stay focused on that. And I can make exceptions now if something comes up and I want to go to school with one of the kids, or I want to take one of the kids out on a lunch date. I can make that choice and plan that kind of stuff and do that. But I'm set on that. So I have blocked out time. I have my time. I have my Beachbody time. Then I have, my kid time, my family time is for the kids, which is 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock every single day. That's their time. That's not for phone calls. That's not for Beachbody business. That's not for blogging or making videos. That's the kid time. So I have that blocked out time. And then in the evening, aside from our team call that we do on Thursday night, I don't work the business anymore. I don't do phone calls at night. I don't work at night like I used to. In the beginning, I had that time blocked out at night, but now that my schedule is different, I have it blocked out. So I'm sharing with you what it is right now to create that balance. So at night, after 8 o'clock, except for the team call night, it's Gabby's time. So her favorite thing is to watch shows and just to hang out. So that's Gabby's time during that time. I can't do calls. I don't do phone calls and all that stuff. So I have a very distinct and clear, I know what my purpose is as a coach, and I have these distinct things. So my time, Beachbody time, kid time, wife time, and then on course Sundays I don't do any work. I teach the 13 and 14-year-old kids now at church on Sunday school. So Sunday is family day, no business, and then I teach at church. And then, of course, Thursday night I have blocked out. Right now I'm supposed to be at the studio. So I have my band time, and my band time gets the band time. So the way to have balance is to set your boundaries. And you can do that right now, setting your boundaries. And then as you grow as a coach and things change, then you can adjust your boundaries to what they are then. So I know a lot of coaches take off running so fast in the beginning and you don't have any boundaries and it gets overwhelming. So make sure you set your boundaries now and learn to set boundaries so that when you have a business of 23,000 coaches in your downline, You could let that business overwhelm you and take over your life and take over your family unless you've set a boundary. So the cool thing about it is my team, they know my boundaries because I stick to it. They know that if they write me, they're not going to hear from me until the next day when I do my Facebook messages. Or they know that if they write me, they're not going to hear from me until I finish everything else that's a part of what I do. So I live by that every single day and set that. So I want you guys to focus on getting your boundaries set with your business and your family, because when you're balanced in your life is more inspiring. If your life is a mess, that's not inspiring to anybody. So a lot of times when I hear somebody say, hey, I'm really struggling in my business, or my business is struggling, it's not that your business is struggling, it's that your life is a mess. Your life is struggling, not your business, because the business is so simple. So make sure you got your life in line and in order. So that's all I got to share with that, Miguel. So I'll pass it back over to you.
Hey, I want to see if can we talk right now?
Your line is now muted. Your line is now unmuted.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I wanted to thank you for the call, dude. Like, it was a lot of fun, and I love what you said at the end. If your life is a mess, that's so true. If your life's a mess, it's going to be pretty hard to inspire people, and it's so true. Like, you hit the nail on the head there, because for me, like, a lot of times people ask you, like, well, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with my like page? What's wrong with my Facebook? What's wrong with my YouTube? What's wrong with my website? And a lot of times it's just your life's kind of a mess, and so you have to tell them it's personal development, it's structuring your stuff, and so that was huge. So thanks so much for making the time for us, Scotty. Thanks everybody for joining the call. I have one more quick thing. Actually, if you guys want, let's do something fun. I'm going to close the slides real quick here, and then I think we should kind of both come in real quick. There we go. So if someone wants to if you guys want to take pictures or like a screenshot and then post it to your timelines and tag me and Scotty in them, we'd love to just kind of go in, like your stuff, and leave a comment for you guys. I know me and Scotty both feel really blessed that you all took the time out of your day to kind of hear us talk, and I value that. We value your time and immensely, and hopefully we see all you guys in Mexico and Cancun and also Nashville. With that, I always like to end the calls with an inspiring video, and then the call will end. So if you want to stick around for it, it's an amazing video. I think it's awesome, and it really motivates you whenever I'm feeling down. I watch this video, and I get inspired again. So with that, thank you, Scotty, for everything. We're going to do it again sometime. I'll probably see you in Mexico. And guys, live with passion and dream the extreme. And I'm going to play the video right now.